Bum ba bum. This is Don't Bother. I'm Zach Kane.
And I'm Taylor Goldsmith.
We're gonna talk about a terrible movie today. But before we do that, Taylor, how was your weekend?
It was good. We worked.
Where do you work?
Movie theater.
Oh, no way, I work at a movie theater.
Really? Which one?
Chisholm Trail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That one sucks.
Yeah, and it's no good.
Huh.
So, the movie that we're doing today
Okay.
is Saw 5.
Okay.
And I feel like I need to explain why it's the fifth one that I've chose. Two reasons. One, it's as far as I've gotten in the series so far. I have two more to go. But also, that's how this kind of started. I've been watching the Saw movies and at work explaining them to you. And so that's how this kind of came about. So the idea is that every podcast one of us is going to watch a bad movie and just explain it to the other one. The other one has never seen it. That's both an explanation for you, the listener, and for Taylor, because he has no idea what we're doing here.
I just shut up.
Yeah. No, okay. So I figure we can just get started. So this is me explaining to Taylor the movie Saw 5.
Okay. Who directed this movie?
That's actually really interesting that you asked that. I was just about to talk about that. All right, so the first movie was directed by James Wan.
Okay.
But for 2, 3, and 4, Darren Lynn Bousman took over. And I guess at this point, when 5 rolled around, he was like, I have no more to contribute to this series. So David Hackle took over.
Okay.
So and I think he only directed this one. I'm not sure, because when I looked at 6, it was a different director on IMDb. But yeah, so in new hands, new director. Let's see how he did.
Wait, what about writing?
Writing?
You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. I wondered if
It wasn't the original writers. I don't know.
Okay.
So anyway, we open on a man who is chained up on his back on a slab in some warehouse, because they're always in some warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And the video comes on. The video always comes on, playing a VHS tape, which this came out in 2008. Where is Jigsaw getting all these tape players? I mean, the character, I guess, is like in his 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
But does he just have a lifetime worth of?
Do a lot of these go on at the same time?
Yeah, they do.
All of them. Okay, so he doesn't have just one tape player that he moves from place to place.
I should have said this before. There are major spoilers in this, not just for this movie, but for 2, 3, and 4 also.
So go watch them.
Don't watch 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to try my hardest not to spoil 1. 1 is great. If you haven't seen 1, that's why I'm watching all the other ones, is because 1 is so good that I wanted to check out the others, but it's not worth it. Yeah, all these tape players, and oh yeah, it's going on at the same time. That's what Taylor had asked. You find out the twist of, was it 4? Yeah, the twist of 4 is that it's happening at the same time as 3.
My thought was that he had the same VHS
just
player.
He
was just throwing it around.
I don't think he could, because they have the tape player at the scene of the crime when the police are investigating in all of them, I think. So he would have to find a way to get it back.
Maybe he's a collector
of
VHS.
Maybe he's sponsored by like Sony.
Maybe.
Or something like that.
He's doing it for money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so the tape plays and tells the guy that this pendulum is going to come down and cut him in half if he doesn't crush both of his hands. There are little things to the side, and he has to stick his hands in them and crush them. And it played out a little differently than I expected. How, like, every other thing is, like, in 4, there's a thing where a guy has to stab out both of his eyes one by one with a thing, or else his body will be ripped apart. And he does one, and it's really painful, and then he can't do the other one, and so he gets ripped up. And that's how it happens a lot. They'll do half of the thing, or they'll try to do it and they can't. But this guy, he does it. He crushes both of his hands, but the pendulum doesn't stop. And it cuts him in half, and we see his organs fly out and splatter against the wall, and he dies.
So wait, what was the point if he did it?
We'll get there.
Did they get to it?
Okay. We'll get there.
Okay.
All right, so that was the beginning. Then we go to Agent Strom, a detective or whatever, a cop.
Is he from one of the others?
Yeah, he is in both 3 and 4.
Is he the one with the tape at the end?
No,
Okay.
that's Hoffman.
Oh, okay.
At the end of 4, there's a detective who we also find out is working with Jigsaw, which was the twist in 2 also, that we find out that the girl, Amanda, she's working with Jigsaw. So I think every 2 movies someone else must be working with him. I assume, because that wasn't the twist in this one. Just wait till we get to the twist of this one.
Callbacks.
But yeah, that's Hoffman. This is Strom. We're talking about Strom. Oh yeah, he's in 3 and 4, and 3 ends with this shootout, and Jigsaw dies. He gets his throat cut by this guy Jeff, and then Jeff's wife's head explodes because
Why not?
Because Jigsaw dies, and her trap was set up with his heart monitor so that if he dies, her head explodes. Anyway, and so he's in there, and he has a gun, and Agent Strom comes in, and Jeff, the guy from 3 and 4, he is like, "Where's my little girl?" Because Jigsaw said something about having his daughter, and he has a gun, and Strom's like, "Put it down," and he doesn't, so he shoots him. Jeff dies. Kills Jeff.
This is in the doctor's office?
No. This isn't a doctor's office. This is like...
This is in the third while the other one's happening.
Well, this is after the third one ends.
Oh. This is 4.
This is 5.
Oh, this is 5?
We're in 5
Oh,
right
you're
now.
talking about 5 right now.
Yeah, we're talking about
I thought
5.
you went back.
Well, I did go back, but now we're back.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
it's all very confusing.
I was confused. I know. I don't
It is
get
confusing. It's I don't know if it's... I can't tell if it's very poorly put together, if they're just pulling it out of their ass while they're doing it. Or if they have this planned out. They don't have it planned out. They're just making it up.
Okay, cool.
Anyway.
Did you read that, or was that...
No,
you just assumed?
Just a mother's intuition.
Okay.
But so... and Hoffman at the end of 4... Because we joined Jeff in this room with Jigsaw and the exploded head lady.
Yeah.
For just a second at the end of 4. Hoffman, when we find out he's a bad guy, closes... them in there, and he's locked in. And now that was at the end of 4. Now we rejoin him here at the beginning of 5.
Okay.
And all the lights go out. And he's in a room with 3 dead people.
Okay.
But there is a hidden door that has...
So wait, Jigsaw's in this room.
Jigsaw's dead, though.
But he's laying there.
But he's laying there.
Cool.
And there is... a glow-in-the-dark door.
Okay.
Because the lights are off. And so he goes in there, and... Well, he opens the door, and it leads to this hallway, and right there is another tape. Jigsaw also has a bunch of tape recorders. Like, so many of them. Because in this room, at the end of 3, which is the same scene, he uses one when his throat gets cut. Because he knew his throat was going to get cut.
Yeah.
So he had a tape recorder ready
Obviously.
to play for the guy that cut his throat. That's going on. There's a tape recorder hanging there. There are tape recorders elsewhere because a bunch of things are happening at the same time.
Okay.
He has a lot of tape recorders too. But so Strom takes the tape recorder and listens to it. And hello, Agent Strom. He says some stuff, and he says, "You finally found me," or whatever. This place can be your sanctuary, or it can be your tomb. That's really important.
Okay.
It really isn't when we get to what it is, but just remember that.
Okay.
But so yeah, he says it can be your tomb, and so he turns off the tape and looks at Jigsaw and goes, "Fuck you." So I mean, at least it has some really good writing. But he walks into this hallway and gets jumped by a person in a pig mask, because that's what they always wear when they capture people, are these pig masks.
Okay.
And he wakes up with his head in a glass box, and it starts filling with water. And no tape plays or anything like that. It's like, I'm gonna play a little game, like they usually do. And there's no way to escape.
Okay.
He's just going to get murdered.
Okay.
But what he does is he searches his pockets, and there's a pin, and so he stabs himself in the throat and unscrews
so
the
he
pen.
can breathe?
Yeah, so he can breathe. So he uses the tube of the pen to breathe.
Okay.
So the rest of the movie is talking like this. Which I assume is an actor's dream. You really get to get into the character
Yeah, it's very...
and portray someone who stabbed himself in the throat. But, okay, so then we go outside. Hoffman, who is bad, we know is bad, has the little girl that Jeff was talking about, and the police are showing up, and he's looking like a hero, and he's like, everyone else is dead. But then they find Strom, and he comes out, and Hoffman's like, ugh. But Strom doesn't know it was Hoffman that did all this.
Strom's just sitting there with this pin in his throat with the
Box on his head. Yeah, but they find him.
Okay.
And they get him out. They don't
Okay.
show how they get him out, but they get him out.
Wait, what kind of box was it? Was it like glass?
Yeah, it was a glass box.
Why didn't he just like drop to the floor?
Oh, it's like suspended.
Oh,
like,
okay.
It was up.
So
in
he's
the air.
hanging.
Like, yeah. Well, he's not hanging, but it's secured in place.
Okay.
He doesn't he
can't slam
move
his
with
head
it.
against the wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he is stationary.
Okay.
But so Hoffman is worried. We now go to a lawyer's office.
Okay.
Where Jigsaw's ex-wife is. She had a pretty big part in 4, just talking about Jigsaw and stuff, and I don't care. But the lawyer is like, we're all very surprised to find out that your husband or your ex-husband was Jigsaw, but upon his death, he wanted you to have this, and he plays another tape, a VHS tape, and it said that he's leaving her a box, and that she'll know what to do with it.
Okay.
And so, both of these things, the lawyer gives her a box, and the tape and all the. If they just found out that he was a murderer, wouldn't all this be evidence or something?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess they're not putting him away. He's dead. But I feel like someone would have to hold on to this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, and she seems to know what's up because she has a key on a necklace and uses the key to open the box. And she just looks in it, and we cut away.
Okay.
We only see her once more in the movie.
If they would just stop playing the tapes, this would go away, right?
It's not like The Ring or whatever.
Well, no, but like, yeah, I guess that he still has people.
Yeah, he still captures people
Anyway,
and
keep
stuff.
going.
So Hoffman gets promoted to something and gets an award, and he goes to his office carrying his award. This is important. I know it doesn't sound like it, but for like a huge plot hole. So that means Jigsaw's already dead.
Okay.
He's won this award for it, and we see him there. And then he sits down at his desk, and there's an envelope there. He opens it up, and it says, "I know who you are." Which he's working for Jigsaw. Yeah, we know who he is.
Yeah.
But he starts to worry. He goes to the evidence locker, pulls out a baggie with Strom's name on it, and his phone is in the baggie for some reason. I don't know why, but Strom's phone is in the evidence locker in a baggie.
Okay.
I don't know. Then another officer comes and tells him that he's wanted at the hospital about Agent Perez. In 4, I get them confused. In 4, Strom was working with this other agent, and she, I think she's dead now, but they went into a room and there was a saw doll, and it was talking, your next move is very important. And she gets really close to the doll because she hears a ticking noise, which is always really smart, and it explodes in her face.
Okay.
And shards go into her head, and we don't see her now again for the rest of the movie. So I assume she's dead because they go into the hospital, and I'm sorry about Agent Perez, so I assume she's dead. But they get into an argument, and about, I don't know, something.
Okay.
Like, how did you get out? Well, how did you get out? And they suspect each other of something, it seems like. But then, while Strom is still in the hospital, this other guy, Erickson, who works for the FBI, shows up and tells Strom that he's off the case.
Okay.
No longer working on the Jigsaw case. Which, I mean, Jigsaw's dead. What case is there left to be on? But he's off of it. He's off the case. Then Hoffman goes down into some dark lair and pulls a cloth off some models of a room, and there are some monitors there that show the same rooms, and it looks like some kind of torture decathlon. Like there's gonna be some stuff happening here. So then we go to...
How far are we into the movie?
20, 25 minutes?
Okay.
I don't know. But then we go into this room, where the little model room, and there are people in there, and they're chained up by the necks, and there are razor blades behind them, big ones, that can, I assume, cut off their heads, and that's what happens later. So, spoilers, yeah. But there are keys. There are 5 keys on the other side of the room, and what they have to do is once one of them makes a move for a key, it'll pull a little pin and it'll start a timer so that they have 1 minute to get the keys. Otherwise, the ropes will tighten and it'll throw them back against the razor blade and cut off their heads.
Okay.
So, and before they do that, they're talking a little bit about how they know each other, or how they're connected, and everyone's kind of playing coy and they don't know. But there's one dude that seems to know a lot. Anyway, they 4 of them get the keys. One girl does not. Her head gets cut off. Oh, and they had 15 minutes to make a move, otherwise these nail bombs would go off.
Okay. So
they had 15 minutes to make the move for 1 minute before their head got cut off, and they have to, leave the room. And that's all with them for now. Oh, another girl... Julie Benz is in the movie. Do you know Julie Benz?
I don't think so.
Did you ever watch Dexter?
Yeah.
She was the girlfriend in the first 4 seasons.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. She's in Angel also.
Okay.
Well, she was in Buffy and then Angel. And anyway. She takes the last key that the other girl didn't get because she says she's being smart. All right, so then Hoffman calls Erickson, the FBI guy, and tells him that he's looking for Strom but can't get a hold of him. I don't know why. Anyway, because Hoffman knows where Strom is. He just talked to Strom in the hospital.
Yeah.
Then Strom goes, even though he's off the case, that is over, goes back to the station and tries to find evidence that Hoffman had something to do with the murders.
Okay.
He finds out that Hoffman's sister was murdered by the man who was murdered at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
And as Strom is leaving, he's seen by Erickson and lies that he's not doing any police work. He's just there to pick up a few things or whatever. So Strom goes to investigate the scene of the murder from the beginning. And it flashes back to Hoffman performing the murder,
okay.
like setting it all up. and watching it, and then being called to investigate it later with the police. We flash back, and just by being there, Strom is like, it was Hoffman that did it. Like, he didn't find anything. What he finds is a little hole in a really dirty window with a little hole that you can see through, and he's looking through that.
He's like, he was standing on the other side of this.
Yeah, I was like, this was definitely Hoffman. How could it not be? He's the only one with eyes. So, yeah, he just automatically figures that out.
Okay.
Hoffman did this. And figured out how he did it. I assume because the flashback. And is he psychic? I don't know. I would much rather watch a movie about this psychic guy who can go to murder scenes than... I don't know if I would, actually. I take that back. So we go back to the group of people that were in chains. There are 4 of them now. And they're
wait, did Hoffman make the Jigsaw video that the man who was murdered at the beginning watched?
We'll get to that.
Okay, keep going.
But I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, keep asking questions.
Okay,
Yeah. We will get to that. Okay, back to the group of people. They just got free from their chains. They're in this other room, and they're trying to figure out still how they know each other. And some of them are like, oh, well, he works for Department of Putting Buildings Places. I don't. But they. Okay, so the next thing is they have 2. There are more nail bombs.
Is this a different room?
This is a different room.
Okay.
More nail bombs, and
do the doors open as they finish things?
Kind of.
Okay.
Like, well...
or they, I guess they couldn't get there anyway.
The minute was over in the first room. Mm-hmm. Once the minute was over, then the door opened.
Okay.
And then when the bombs go off in this room is when the next door opens.
Okay.
But there are 4 little, like, hidey holes in this, with bars and keys on them. And there are a bunch of keys up in jars on the ceiling, and they have to break the jars to get the keys to get into the hidey holes to not die from the explosion.
Okay.
But there are 4 hidey holes, but only 3 keys that'll work. So one of them they assume is going to have to die. And they get into a fight, and one guy like hits another guy and says "survival of the fittest" and tries to get the key and get in there. And then Megan Good is there. She's in this. I didn't tell you that.
Megan Good.
She's an actress. Just Google it later.
Okay, sorry.
She pops up and stuff. You would know her if you saw her.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
But she hits that guy with a thing.
Okay.
And lets the other guy get in the hole, and she gets in the hole, and Julie Benton's in the hole.
How do they get the keys?
They're breaking them from. They have. Like,
they're hanging to where they can get them.
Well, they have like a metal rod or something, and they're just like getting them.
Okay.
And so then they get the keys, and they get in there, and then the bomb goes off, and the one guy dies.
Okay.
All right, so we go back to Strom, looking through some files, and sees that Hoffman was involved with every Jigsaw investigation. So now we flash back to Hoffman getting the note that says, "I know who you are." He goes to some apartment, and Jigsaw is in the elevator.
Okay.
And the time on this is all messed up because Jigsaw's dead.
Yeah.
But they're
flashing back to things.
They're flashing back to
where we think it's the present.
No.
It's not.
No. It's a flashback, but he has the note that says, "I know who you are." So their timing is off because he gets the note that makes he goes somewhere because of it to this apartment.
Yeah.
Jigsaw drugs him. He wakes up. He has a shotgun to him, and Jigsaw convinces him to be on his side.
Oh,
and so it all started with him getting the note that says, "I know who you are." Okay. But he got the note that says, "I know who you are" after Jigsaw was dead.
Yeah. Or so we thought.
Yeah, they don't explain it in this movie unless he got another note that says, "I know who you are." At a different time, which I guess he could have if they explained it in the movie.
They flash back to a different...
Apparently so. To a different time he got the note. Because it can't be the same time that he got the first note. Jigsaw's already dead.
Yeah, but did they just mess with time? When did he walk into his office to get the note?
He walked into his office, and I told you, he was holding the award he just won.
Yeah.
That was important. He was holding the award.
Okay.
So we know that Jigsaw's already dead. We know that just happened.
Did he open...
Yeah.
When he was sitting there, he opened it.
He sits down, and there's the.
So it couldn't have been
envelope.
something that he was just like thinking back to.
No.
Okay.
So what I am going to assume is it's a different note, but it's stupid that he gets two notes at the same time. They don't show the different. It's very confusing.
Unless it comes into the 6th.
Yeah, the 6 or 7, which it very well could.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. It's a lot to take in.
Keep going. There's a lot.
So anyway, Jigsaw convinces Hoffman to join it because that first murder was Hoffman imitating Jigsaw, and Jigsaw was like, I don't appreciate that.
Oh wait.
Yeah, the first.
So he reprimands him for that.
Yeah, he says like, why did you?
Okay, so that didn't happen after Jigsaw was dead.
No, it didn't. It happened before, but you're not.
You're
supposed
to
know.
think. Why do they do that a lot?
It's. I don't have a problem with nonlinear storytelling,
but it's weird the way they do it.
But it's very confusing.
Because they make it look like Strom is investigating. Wait,
Hoffman.
So how long's that murder scene been set up?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we go to another murder scene from the first one even later that's still set up.
They just keep them?
They just keep it up, I guess. I don't know.
They don't have any use for the buildings.
Anyway, so now Hoffman is working for Jigsaw.
Okay.
All right, so Erickson calls Hoffman now, who tells Erickson that Hoffman believes that Strom thinks someone is helping Jigsaw other than Amanda from 2 and 3. That was the one that was helping before. And that it might be a cop. I assume he's telling Erickson this to seem like he's on Erickson's side, to throw the scent off him, to be like, yeah, if someone's working on the inside, then, and it can't be me because I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
But later, Hoffman frames Strom for this stuff. So, not to ruin it for you, but why would he tell...
Like, ruin it.
Yeah, why would he say... Because then, like, why would he act like Strom is investigating a thing that someone else is there when he wants it to look like it's he himself that's doing it, Strom? Because Strom should be keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so back to the game.
Okay.
3 people still alive. They do almost nothing in this scene. I think it's just to remind us that they're there. So then we go Strom visiting the scene of a murder from the first one. You remember the barbed wire maze, where the guy was in there and he's trying to get through the barbed wire and he gets himself all cut up and.
Not really.
No. Okay.
No, it's been too long.
But yeah, it's still set up. It's still set up after all of this time.
Is the body still there?
No. The body's gone, but the barbed wire maze is still there.
Okay.
And it flashes back to Jigsaw and Hoffman kidnapping the guy that was in the barbed wire maze, then setting up the scene. There's a little door in the room where Jigsaw and Hoffman were watching, which in the first one, he has 3 hours to get out, otherwise this room becomes your grave. Which means they would be stuck in there too. Because there wasn't any other way out of this little room, but if the door closed, because it was underground, there's a door that closes, they would be stuck in there also, unless there's another way out. And the door wasn't hard to find. It's a wooden door in this like concrete room, and Strom's in there and he's like, door. He like immediately sees it. So if the other guy got out and was locked in, and was looking for another way out, he would find this other door immediately, open it up, and there are his killers in there, or his attempted killers, just right there.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, okay, so he's looking at that, and it flashes back to that, and where am I? We go back to the game. These 3 people. They talk a little bit more about how they know each other and how they're connected, and there's a bathtub in the middle of this new room, and what they have to do is there are 5 cables that have to all have a electric current through them somehow, and it unlocks 5 locks on the door. Like each one will unlock a.
Okay.
And so what they do is they stab Megan Good in the neck, throw her in the bathtub, and stick all the shocky things into her so that
Do they plan this or it just happens?
Well, Megan Good is like yelling at this dude. She's like, "Get in the tub. Get in the tub."
Okay.
And Julie Benz walks over.
She had it coming.
And then just stabbed her in the neck. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't trust her. Is what she says. But so yeah, she's in the bathwater and they have it all connected. And her body's being electrocuted, but they get out.
Okay.
They get out. And so there are two of them left. Now, okay, Jill. She was, I don't think I said the name earlier. She is Jigsaw's ex-wife.
Okay.
Jill. She goes to see Erickson and says she thinks she's being followed by someone from the FBI. And we never see her again. That was it. Which is in trying to help Hoffman frame Strom, but making it look like someone is following her or something. But I can't imagine that was the only thing in the box. Like, the box was just like a piece of paper that said, "Hey, go tell the police that you're being followed to try to frame this guy."
Yeah.
So I assume it's going to pop up later. I don't know.
That's really dumb.
Yeah, I don't know why it's in this movie right now. Because, I mean, it's... I understand, like, in movies, you know, sowing seeds now for your whatever later, but it's not worth it right now to show this.
It doesn't do anything else for our story.
It just wastes time. Yeah, it's a movie that's an hour 35.
Okay.
Maybe they just needed to fill time. I don't know. All right, now we're with Strom, and he's checking out where Jigsaw died, this room in the warehouse.
Do we ever know Jigsaw's name? I thought
John.
John. John and Jill.
John. Yeah. His name's John, but I call him Jigsaw.
Okay.
John Saw. So he's looking at where Jigsaw died, and we flash back to Jigsaw talking to Hoffman to tell him to set up again. And he's in a bed. He's dying. This in 3 we see him almost dead. Then this is where he dies, but he has cancer.
Yeah.
A tumor, and so he's not doing well. But yeah, he tells Hoffman to set up a game, gives him a folder with pictures of the people who are currently playing the game.
Okay.
Now we come back to the present where Strom is in that room, and he's like figured it all out just by being there. He saw this flashback, and he says, "We were all supposed to die." And I don't know why, but then it shows several deaths from the past few movies. Matthews, who was in 2 and then tied up in 4 and gets his head smashed.
Yeah.
Other detectives that were trying to save him, all this stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, we were all supposed to die." Then Hoffman would look like the hero. So he wasn't supposed to die. Or he was supposed to. I don't know. It's convoluted. So Hoffman calls Erickson again.
Okay.
But from that cell phone, of Strom's cell phone that he took from the evidence bag.
Mm-hmm.
He calls it, and then he hangs up when Erickson picks up. Erickson calls the phone, and Hoffman opens it and then closes it. And Erickson was like, "That's weird. We better put a locator on Strom's phone, figure out where he is." So he does. They track down the phone, which he puts. Hoffman puts by the monitors and all the stuff that's watching the game going on.
Okay.
So that when it's found later, they're like, "Oh, of course it's him. He's doing it. His phone's here."
Yeah.
But all right, we're back in the game, and the last 2, they find the final thing where they have to fill a jar full of blood so that it weighs enough, and it's in this contraption where they have to stick their arm in, and there's a saw blade to cut them to fill the blood. But there are 5 holes, and only 2 of them left. But every game was set up so that someone dies, or was it? Every key at the beginning that was in all the boxes were the same. They could have used the same key, and everyone could have got out. I don't know why they couldn't have anyway. Like, if the last one...
Did they explain this?
Yeah. Like, she's looking at the keys, and she's like, "They're all the same." the second one, she was like, there was enough room in all those holes for multiple people. We didn't have to all die. And then she's talking about the bathtub, and it's like, oh, if we all would have just, if all 5 of us would have been there, we would have each just received a small shock and opened the doors. We didn't have to take someone's life. This was meant for all of us to be here, so that they would all shed a little bit of blood to fill up the jar. And yeah.
Why can't they just pee in it?
No, because it's in a thing.
Okay.
It's. Do you have 10 quarts of pee in you?
No, but I don't know. It's better than using my blood.
Yeah, but it's set up so that you can't get anything. You stick your arm in and it drains the blood. I don't know.
Okay.
And we're cutting back and forth between a lot of things like this. So I'm just going to tell you what happens in this scene.
I've got
so we don't.
Long streams of pee. I could pee through that thing.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
But how would the girl do it?
Oh, I don't know. She just spray it everywhere. I don't.
Yeah, because it's a guy and a girl.
Okay,
right now.
go.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Anyway.
Okay, keep going.
So they stick their arms in, and it cuts them like halfway up the arm.
Okay.
And you see the arm, like when they pull them out, like the arm's all wiggly and cut apart, and it's gross. Yeah, so that happens there, but it's cutting back and forth between a lot of stuff, like the police putting a trace on the phone, and then Erickson tracking down the phone. Erickson has no reason to track down Strom with the phone. He's just because he called him and hung up, he's like, I gotta find him.
Yeah.
And so he goes in into the place and finds the phone next to the monitors. It's Strom. There's coffee here and it's still hot. He's the only one that drinks hot coffee. And then Strom, meanwhile, is also following Hoffman somewhere to this house where there's a trapdoor, and he goes in and into some tunnels, and he finds this room where there's like this glass coffin with a bunch of broken glass inside, and there's another little tape recorder. And he plays a tape recorder.
The fact that he finds all of these places, Jigsaw, just to have.
Well,
them.
now it's not Jigsaw; it's Hoffman doing.
Well, either way.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
It's ridiculous.
Is this all in the same city?
Yeah.
What city?
Gotham.
Is it?
Yeah. So I mean, look out, because Batman's coming.
Okay, so there's coffin.
Yeah, there's this glass coffin looking thing with a bunch of broken glass inside and the tape, and he plays it, and it says, like, the only way to survive is to get in here, or some, I don't know.
Does he know what it was going to be Strom?
Yeah, he knows that Strom, because Hoffman is trying to frame Strom for all this, and he knows that Strom is on his case for whatever reason, however he knows this. Then Hoffman pops up behind him. No, that's not right. Hoffman is sneaking into the room.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden Strom is gone, and he walks up and says, "Oh," and then Strom appears behind him somehow, and they get into a fight, and Strom throws Hoffman into the coffin and closes it, and is like, "Now you're stuck. Now you're gonna die. Ha ha ha! I got you." And Hoffman points down to the tape recorder that I guess he didn't play all the way, so he keeps listening to it, and it's. I'm gonna stop here for a second.
Okay.
Because we're coming up on the twist of the movie.
Okay.
I want to explain the twists of the other movies before I do this one. I'm not gonna do the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, go watch the first one. I won't ruin this one for you, but these other movies aren't worth it. So at the end of the second one, you find out this girl that's in these games with these other people is working for Jigsaw the whole time. Oh my gosh. The twist of the third one, super convoluted, just this shootout that Jigsaw somehow planned but had to make sure that everything happened the right way. When you watch it seems cool, but if you give it an ounce of thought, it doesn't make any sense. The fourth one, we find out that Hoffman is a bad guy and that it's taking place at the same time as 3. Why would we have... What is that? Anyway, okay, never mind. Now this one, the twist of this one.
Okay.
Remember earlier when it said that the tape recorder, it said, this place could be your sanctuary or it could be your tomb.
That was...
Well, the tape recorder at the very beginning that he finds. Yeah. He gets that, it could be your tomb. Well, the glass coffin lowers into the ground. Hoffman was supposed to be in it. And the walls start closing in, and they crush Strom to death. And the twist is that thing that they said would happen at the beginning, that he would die here, he dies here.
Okay.
And the movie's over.
That was it?
That's it. That's how the movie dies. It shows him being crushed, and then the movie ends.
That's not very good.
No, it's not.
That's very disappointing.
Yeah, like, I wasn't expecting anything amazing, especially after, the third and fourth one, which weren't great. But, I mean, the twists are just getting worse and worse after every movie.
That's just boring.
Yeah.
Huh.
Especially when you're expecting it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the others have set this precedence that, there's going to be a twist.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know. Not worth it.
That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you had to give 2 words to rate this movie, what would you give it?
2 words, easy peasy. Don't bother. Ba-dum-bum. All right, that was Don't Bother. I'm Zach Kane.
And I'm Taylor Goldsmith.
And hopefully you enjoyed this. Bye.
Bye.